Hey guys.
Alright folks, we're here today to check out a band that's had gone under my radar. So this album is coming out, they have their debut album, I should say, coming out September 28th on Metal Blade Records. This is the first single. The name of the song is Fall of the Loyal Warrior. This went completely under my radar, and then the band's PR sent me an email and said, by the way, Michael Poulsen from Volbeat has a death metal band. They're releasing their debut album. Would you want to review the album and all of this shit? Which I was like, fuck, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
It's
like,
very intriguing.
Is this going to be like Volbeat turned all the way to 11, but now death metal? Like I was intrigued by the whole prospect that he had music that he created that didn't fit Volbeat, so he started a death metal band. So I was super intrigued. So I've listened to the whole record.
Okay.
Like almost 2 months in advance of the album release. So I've listened to the whole record. I'm going to go on record right now saying that this is going to be one of the best death metal albums of 2023. And I know there's still Cryptopsy to come out, there's still Cannibal Corpse to come out, there's still quite a bit of death metal to come out this year. This is going to be one of the best, I'm saying it again just in case people didn't hear me the first time, this is going to be one of the best death metal albums of the year. Asinhell is the name of the band. I know you're not a huge,
I'm not the
huge death metal fan. The sound of these guys, death metal is the core, but there is some thrash metal elements. There are some blackened elements as well. There are some rock and roll elements.
Okay. Maybe that will get me, because the thing is, when you say death metal, I'm not intrigued as much. But then you say thrash onto it, and I'm still not very... Cause
Michael Poulsen on guitar, you gotta feel like he's gonna bring
some
of those Volbeat riffs.
That's true, and when I hear Poulsen, I think of Yusuf Poulsen, who plays for Leipzig.
Okay, not the same guy.
Not the same guy.
They're probably not even related. It would be cool if they were related.
I don't think they're related.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like Almeida, how there's so many Almeidas out there. But
not really, there's not that many. But okay, but we're not related. Hugo Almeida was no relation to me, or Andre Almeida for that matter. Sadly. Otherwise I would have got free tickets to go see some games. So anyhow, I've painted the picture here. Like I said, I know the song, because I've heard the whole album.
Yeah, it's very...
But I've never seen the video.
It's very intriguing for me. Right, because...
Dude, I'm in love with this album, and that's the reason why we're here, because I loved it so much that I feel like more people need to listen to it, including you.
You know what, though?
This is the opening track on the record, by the way.
But normally when it comes to death metal, we start off, and I'm not really sure. I'm actually more intrigued and excited for this, because you said rock, and you said Poulsen, and I'm here.
Yeah, it's kind of like a super group, like, you know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm in love with this album. Since I got it, I haven't been able to put it down. I love it, and I want to spread the word, and I feel like there's enough here that you're going to gravitate towards.
Okay.
All right, so you ready?
Yeah.
Oh! Look at that fat riff. Dude. I hope I'm not the only asshole in the room that likes this shit.
You're not.
I hope I'm not alone.
You're not alone. This is good. This is some good shit. And I think what makes it good is, for me at least, as someone who, I like certain, like, death metal is like deathcore for me. There's only a few bands I really like.
It's not brutal death metal, so it's not...
It's also not brutal death metal, yeah.
Which I know you're not a huge fan of brutal death metal or slam. Like, those are definitely not your jams. So,
but this had a sense of, I guess, funny enough, whenever I think of like bands in those genres, I always think that when I listen to their music, it doesn't have a sense of purpose.
Wow, that's interesting, because I was listening to an album today of a band that falls under that category, and I was like, the songs individually sound really good, but the album itself has no sense of purpose.
It has no sense of
purpose. Like, where am I going with this? Like, I feel like I'm not going anywhere.
I feel like I'm listening to it just to listen to it.
100% how I felt about the record. Not that the songs were bad, but in general, the whole album, it just felt like empty
calories. But that's
calories.
just what I feel like. A lot of times I'll listen to bands and I'm like, okay, well, it sounds like this band, so what's the point of listening to it? Right? I've heard it 10 times before, it's empty calories. But this has substance. You know, it has shit in there that grabs me.
That guitar riff is killer. Dude. It's chunky. It has the right amount of distortion in it. It's killer.
But the vocals, I think, what also gets me is they're not.
You can understand what he's saying.
They're not heavy. They're kind of. I don't know how to.
You know what it reminds me a little bit of At the Gates. Not as like with At the Gates, they go a little bit like broader, like because he has a very specific delivery, a very specific style, where it sounds like he's like almost running out of air, like he's breathing in when he's singing. So it's not quite there, but very similar in terms of the overall feel.
Yeah, they're very audible.
With a amount of raspiness, just
a little bit of a raspiness, and they have more force. They kind of have that hardcore feel to them, like very hardcore feeling vocals. So you have hardcore feeling vocals. You have riffs that have embedded in rock, like they have like.
In this song, I would say this song perhaps a little bit more thrashy in the terms of the
thrashy,
sound.
Yeah.
But there's some tracks on this album. There's maybe one or two that if you took the main riff of the song and you put it on a Volbeat track, it's technically a Volbeat song. It's just that it's a Volbeat song turned all the way to 11 and now it's death metal. But the what I mean is the bare bones of the riff itself is pure rock and roll.
It's rooted in rock and roll.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Even this one, the riff does feel like it's rooted in a rock and roll riff. It's just that they made it heavier.
And it comes across a little bit thrashy because of the distortion and the feel.
Yeah, and just the speed.
Yeah. But the melody behind it is where it brings like the more rock and roll feel comes from the melody.
Definitely. Fuck, this was good.
The whole album is like this.
This was good.
The whole album is like this. If you guys are watching this video right now and you're like, wow, I didn't know Michael Poulsen could do this shit. This is fucking good. Go fucking buy it. You're not going to regret it. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be one of the best albums of the year as far as the death metal genre is concerned, and maybe even beyond the genre. I cannot... we were having this discussion the other day about... is there an album out there that stands out to you this year as one of the best albums of the year?
There hasn't been anything.
No, both of us were like, I mean, there's been this one here, this one there, whatever.
And then we were also pulling out albums that came out last year too, like because I feel like this year, kind of like how I feel about some death metal songs. I feel like this year's had zero purpose when it comes to.
To me, this year, there's two albums that will stand the test of time. Die Humane with The Grotesque. I love that record. It's phenomenal. It's out there, outside of the box, avant-garde, if you want to call it. And I'm not a big avant-garde guy, but that album is outstanding. And this one. We had this conversation. I went through my mind thinking, man, I really got to go on my phone and look which albums I picked, because there's really not many records that really stand out for me this year as being like really good records. And the only two that I could, if you put a gun to my head today and ask me, what are some of your favorite albums? I would tell you this one and Die Humane with The Grotesque.
Yeah. It was just funny.
Which, by the way, if you guys haven't heard that, go check that out.
It was just funny because when we were talking about that, we were pulling out albums from like last year that we don't really, we don't, it got to the point where like when this year started, we didn't count it because we felt like everything was just kind of...
And you know what's funny about this is that you could call this a super group, and the band that I just mentioned, Die Humane, they're also a super group. They have Sal Abruscato from Typo Negative and a pill horse named Death on drums. And they have Rick Inold, originally from Exodus, one of the founding members of Exodus, on guitar. So that's pretty eclectic right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check those guys out.
Damn.
So yeah, you like this, huh?
I do. Yeah.
Dude, the whole album is this good. And this is the opening track. So imagine you sitting down listening to this album, you put it on, you press play, you get hit with this song first.
I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping until the album's done.
It's such a good record. And it's a quick record too. It's a short record.
But
I think it's
good.
38 minutes.
But it's good because...
So it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Exactly.
It doesn't overstay its welcome. I love this death metal. When I was listening to this album, the only band that I could think of that the album reminded me, maybe not necessarily sound-wise, but from a structural point of view, in terms of having a great opening song, having a really good closing song, and then have songs in the middle that move really well from one to the other, and being short and compact, it reminded me of Entombed. So if you guys are fans of Entombed, I think this album is a must-buy because there's a lot of resemblances between what these guys are doing, and I feel like they're bringing a little bit of that old school, almost like Swedish death metal, not melodic death metal, but Swedish death metal, and giving it their own take of this is what death metal used to sound like when we were kids listening to death metal, and this is the kind of death metal we want to make. That's how it comes across to me. I was just shocked that Michael Poulsen is in this band. I mean, I didn't know he was a death metal fan, to be honest with you.
You thought he was just about the assholes in the room?
Yeah. I thought he was like, having some cocktails with Lola, and playing cards with Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
While looking at the Mirror and the Reaper.
I was about to say that.
I could go on all day with this, We can still be counting.
Yep.
God
damn.
See what I did there? I threw one more in there. All right, guys. On that note, seriously, don't sleep on this band. I was sleeping on them because when I saw that this band, I saw the press release, I heard about it. I'm like, do I really need this? I was like, probably I don't. I'm gonna be honest. That was my take. I got enough of Volbeat. I don't need anything else from Michael Poulsen at this point in time. I'm happily satisfied. I saw them on this tour that they're currently on in North America. I saw them at the first show of the tour, which was in Toronto. I think I got my fix.
Okay.
Right? But then I got the email from the PR guys, we really think you should check it out, whatever. And I was like, yeah, what the fuck? Send it to me. Let me check it out. I was like, dudes, you were holding back. What the fuck?
Holding out on me.
What the fuck? This is phenomenal. Give me more. So, yeah, outstanding record. Metal Blade Records is releasing it September 28th. Go pre-order this shit. This is the first single, and it's the first track on the album. All right, and they're not paying me to give all this promotion. No. I'm doing all of this because I really love the record. I'm just keeping it real.
Preach, brother, preach.
It's funny enough because I commented on Twitter what I just said, that this is going to be one of the best albums, one of the best death metal albums of 2023. And somebody from Metal Blade Writers like, oh, do you want to check it out? It's like, I already got it, man. I'm ahead of the curve here, So yeah, we're definitely not getting paid to do this or to say this. I'm just, honestly, I feel that strongly about the material on this record. It's a phenomenal album. It's a very guitar-centric record, as you would expect, considering who's behind it and who's writing it. So expect great riffage, great guitar sound. Go get it. All right?
All right.
You like it?
I do like it, yeah.
All right, perfect. On that note, guys, thank you for watching this video. We'll be back tomorrow with more videos.
See ya.